What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be going over what exactly I think happened in the original timeline of The Flash. Now, obviously, we do already know some things about the original timeline, so I'm just going to use those to develop some, more theories as to what else could have happened to, sort of connect everything. Now, guys, I've also had, tons of different theories as to how, the current day Flash TV show or, the current timeline of the show could, fit into the original timeline. I've said that, maybe the Reverse Flash we saw in Season 2, Episode 11 could come back in Season 9, that version, and then our current Barry could go back in time, and, then Barry's mother would die, all that. I'm going to be ignoring all that for this video. What we're going to be doing is just strictly going over the original timeline. So before Thawne turned into Wells, before Flashpoint, before the particle accelerator exploded in 2014, before all of that, we're just going to go over what exactly happened in the original timeline and how that led up to, I guess, The Flash as a show. So we're just going to start off, with Barry being struck by lightning. Now, I don't know if this is confirmed, but it's presumed that in the original timeline, Barry was struck by lightning in the year 2020. That we do know for a fact that's when the original Harrison Wells, in the original timeline, did build his particle accelerator, but from what we know, it didn't explode. It actually worked. So, yeah, we're just still going to assume that Barry was struck by lightning in 2020 because that's what everyone else is theorizing about this. So, of course, with that being said, we need a way to connect the Flash and the Reverse Flash in the original timeline. Now, in order to do that, I'm actually going to combine two of the different origin stories that they've talked about for Reverse Flash on the show. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that I'm going to go off the Season 8, Episode 5 origin story. I'm going to say that Barry, for whatever reason, traveled in time to the future, and he met the Eobard Thawne. Well, at the time, he was not the Reverse Flash yet. So what I think should have happened, or what they should explain here, is that Eobard Thawne, he idolized the Flash, he works in the Flash Museum, all that, until he eventually got himself his own speed, and eventually after that would create the negative Speed Force. But first, we have to go over him, how he becomes an enemy of the Flash. So here's what I think should be told about this. I think they should go really comic book accurate here and say that Reverse Flash, or Eobard Thawne, was creating his own crimes and then stopping them just so he would get all the praise for, being a hero or whatever, being the next Flash, all that, until one day Barry gets to the future for whatever reason. That's the one thing we don't know, is why Barry goes to the future to see Eobard. But what we do know is that he would eventually stop Reverse Flash, or Eobard Thawne, from doing these crimes and then saving the people or whatever himself, and that's what starts Reverse Flash's hatred for the Flash. That's not what I think solidifies his hatred. That's what I think starts it. What I think solidifies his hatred is we go back to the Season 2 Episode 11 origin story, where Reverse Flash says he simply traveled in time, and that's how he realized he was meant to be a villain, or the arch nemesis of the Flash. That's how I think he eventually becomes a villain, through seeing all these different things through time travel and eventually figuring out that he's meant to be the Reverse Flash. So yeah, just to summarize that first part of what I went over, Barry gets struck by lightning in 2020, then for some reason time travels to the future, like 22 something, and sees Eobard Thawne creating these crimes for himself to stop because he idolizes the Flash and wants to be a hero like the Flash. So Barry puts a stop to that, which eventually starts Eobard's hatred for the Flash instead of idolizing him, which then prompts Eobard to time travel himself to figure out who he's supposed to be, and that is the Reverse Flash. So this is when I'm going to assume Eobard would create the negative Speed Force after he realizes that he's supposed to be a villain. So once he does that, then he would have, his own Speed Force. He would have, everything that comes with that. And then he would start time traveling to figure out when the Flash is from, which is kind of weird. I don't know why he wouldn't know when the Flash is from, because obviously it's the future. They should be able to know, a lot of things about the past. So yeah, that was a little bit confusing, unless it's classified or something like that. I think that might have been in the comics somewhere. I don't know, something like that could have happened. But yeah, nonetheless, Eobard would start time traveling to figure out when the Flash is from, which is when we see him in Season 2, Episode 11. Now, like I said, I don't want to, use the new timeline that we have where Eobard Thawne became Harrison Wells, because, that didn't happen initially. So let's just say that only happens in this new timeline. But nonetheless, Eobard would still try to time travel to figure out when the Flash is from. Maybe he comes across the Flash in 2022. 2022 or 2023, something like that. And then the two would just, battle it out. Reverse Flash versus the Flash would just battle it out and become sworn enemies. Obviously, this is, I don't know why I forgot to mention this in the first place, but this is a timeline where Barry's parents are still alive, obviously, because Reverse Flash never went back in time and killed them. Well, yet, at least. So yeah, eventually, Reverse Flash and the Flash would keep duking it out, keep battling. At least that's what I would assume would happen. They would have battles here and there, until eventually, one night, Reverse Flash and the Flash have like an epic street battle, just like the 2024 newspaper described, and the skies would turn red and all that. So I don't know if you guys have actually looked up what that 2024 newspaper article actually says, but it actually says that Barry was teamed up with a bunch of different heroes, like Green Arrow, the Atom, I believe, was in there, and some other heroes that I can't remember, but they were all teamed up fighting the Reverse Flash, who also had shadow demons with him. So, like, this is a little bit of a Crisis on Infinite Earths reference with the shadow demons and the red skies, but also at the same time, it's like there's no Anti-Monitor, there's no mention of any other Earths or anything like that. So it's just I guess it's just a crisis. It's not really a Crisis on Infinite Earths, but yeah, I think they definitely should still do this on the show if they have the opportunity. But nonetheless, in the original timeline, the Flash and the Reverse Flash would have an epic street battle, as it's described in the newspaper, and then eventually it would see a Flash missing vanishes in Crisis with the Reverse Flash, of course. And I guess this isn't confirmed, but what we're assuming is that the Reverse Flash and the Flash disappeared. They time traveled back to the night where Barry's mother was murdered. Obviously, that was Reverse Flash's entire goal, to figure out the Flash's name, and we don't know how he does it, but apparently he would figure out the Flash's name as Barry Allen. It was never confirmed as to how he would do that, but we do know that he somehow does figure out the Flash is Barry Allen, which means he can now time travel back and kill Barry as a child, which is exactly what he does after what we're assuming this epic street battle. So yeah, the Flash and the Reverse Flash would disappear in an explosion of light. This explosion of light is obviously a time portal opening up for both of them to go back to the year 2000, where Reverse Flash is trying to attempt to kill Barry as a child. But Barry follows him back, and we have to assume that Barry learned of Reverse Flash's plan, maybe with the help of the team that he has in the year 2024 in the original timeline. I don't know what exactly that team is. Maybe Cisco and Caitlin are still on it. I think that would be pretty cool. But anyways, so yeah, Barry and Reverse Flash go back to that night. Reverse Flash wants to kill Barry's mother, or sorry, he wants to kill Barry as a child. We've obviously seen that scene where they're fighting in the living room where Barry's defending his family from the Reverse Flash. Barry eventually gets his younger self out of the house and away from the Reverse Flash, so that angers Thawne, and he ends up killing Nora Allen, which starts off the Flash Season 1 and changes the entire timeline. And obviously, the version of Harrison Wells / Eobard Thawne that we see in The Flash Season 1 is the original timeline Eobard Thawne, because that one got stuck in the year 2000 after he killed Barry's mother, and then, went on to, play out the Flash Season 1. So, yeah, I think that's pretty interesting right there. You have an original timeline character that's actually in the screwed up timeline of the Flash Season 1. So, yeah, that was basically it for the original timeline. Let me know if you guys have anything you could, add to this, or any changes you'd make to it based on, like, the theories I've had. Anything like that, just comment that down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.